Hello, this is Gareth Williams and welcome to SecureYourWallet.com. We're going to take a much closer look at desktop wallets now, and we're going to investigate what options you have. As I explained in a previous video, there are three main types of wallets. You have your desktop wallets, which are installed locally on your machine. You have your online or web wallets, which you would access through a web browser, and then you have your mobile wallets, which you would access through a mobile device, such as a smartphone. So we're going to take a much more in-depth look at desktop wallets today and go through the pros and cons of the major wallets available. So a good place to start is to go to bitcoin.org, and if we scroll down to the bottom of the page here, you see this Get Started with Bitcoin option. So we click on that, choose option number 2, choose your wallet, and if I scroll down to the bottom of the page, you can see the three wallet types listed here. You have your desktop wallets, your mobile wallets, and your web wallets. We're going to have a look at desktop wallets now. And we're going to start off by looking at BitcoinQT. So what is BitcoinQT? BitcoinQT is the original Bitcoin wallet. It's a full Bitcoin client and it builds the backbone of the Bitcoin network. It's very stable and it offers good security. But there's two really important things you need to take into consideration if you want to use BitcoinQT. First of all, BitcoinQT downloads the entire blockchain to your computer. So what is the blockchain? Well, the blockchain is actually a record of every single Bitcoin transaction ever done, going all the way back to the very first Bitcoin transaction back in 2009. Currently, as I'm recording this video, the blockchain is 16 gigabits in size. This means you're going to have to download this entire 16 gigabits of data to your local computer. Now this is going to take several hours, and if you want to get up and running with your wallet straight away, you won't be able to do anything until this download has completed. Another important thing to take into consideration is the size of this download. Now, if you're on a device like a netbook or a laptop and you haven't got much hard drive space, you don't necessarily want 16 gigabits of your hard drive being taken up by the blockchain. So this product's really much more suited to somebody who's got a desktop with like a 1 terabyte hard drive and they don't mind sacrificing some of their hard drive space. You also have to take into consideration that every time you open up the wallet, it's going to synchronize and download the latest blockchain data to your computer. So you need to be using it on a regular basis so it keeps synchronized with the network. Otherwise, if you don't use it for a while and you open up the wallet, it could take an hour to download the latest updates before you can even begin to use the wallet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually on an old machine and I'm actually going to download BitcoinQT and install it and just sort of run you through the initial install so you get an idea of what's involved and how long it's going to take. So I'm going to go to download here. I'm going to download the Windows exe file. I'm just going to run it. It doesn't take very long to download. I'll just minimize this. And we're going to go through the standard Bitcoin installation or standard Windows installation. So we'll just go through the defaults. Click Next, click Finished, and BitcoinQT is installed. Now, it's opening up the wallet for the first time. I'm going to allow access through the firewall. And if we look down here at the bottom, you can see it says synchronizing with the network, and it says currently we're 264 weeks behind. So what it's doing now in the background is it's downloading all that blockchain data to our computer. Now, like I said, this is going to take several hours and you won't be able to use the wallet now until it's done this initial download. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it downloading and then I'm going to come back to this once it's finished downloading and we'll take a quick look around the interface of BitcoinQT. Before I go, however, I'm just going to show you where the blockchain data is actually stored on your local computer, just for a matter of interest. So what you need to do is go to the following directory. So it's on your C drive in your users folder. Now my user is called spare. You need to type in whatever your user account is here. Then you want to go to app data, roaming, and then you want to go to Bitcoin, click enter. And you see this folder here called blocks. Well, this is actually where BitcoinQT downloads the blockchain data to. Currently, there's hardly any files in this folder, but as I leave it downloading over the next few hours, there'll be more and more files downloaded to this folder, and eventually there'll be probably, well over 200 files in there. So we're going to leave this downloading, and we're going to come back to it in a few hours, and I am going to go and have a look at Multibit now. So we're going to have a look at Multibit now. So I'm going to head back over to bitcoin.org. I'm going to go down here and click on Multibit. Now, Multibit is a third-party wallet. It's not developed by the original Bitcoin developers, but the fact that they are recommending it on the main Bitcoin website means they're endorsing it, and you can be pretty sure that this is a safe wallet to use. Now, Multibit is what's known as a thin wallet. It's not a thick wallet like BitcoinQT, so it doesn't download the entire blockchain to your computer, which is good because it means you can get up and running with Multibit in just a few minutes, and you can use it on devices like notebooks and small devices where the client's not going to take up much room on your actual device. So I'm going to go through downloading and installing Multibit and just sort of go through the interface and show you how Multibit works and what it looks like. So we're going to head over to Multibit, and I'm going to go to download the Windows installer. I'm just going to save it. Now I already have it downloaded, so we don't need to run through the download. So I'm going to click run. And we're just going to go through a standard Windows installation. I'm going to accept all the defaults, click next, accept the license, next, create shortcuts. And unlike BitcoinQT, it creates a desktop shortcut that you can see down here in the bottom left straight away. Click next, and we are done. So I'm going to open up Multibit now. And you can see in the bottom left, it's saying it's connecting, and it says it's online. It's doing some synchronizing with the network. I think it downloads some Bitcoin blockchain headers. So you can be up and running, very quickly, depending on your internet speed. Now, while it's just synchronizing, I'll run you through the interface. So it gives you this little welcome screen. We'll just close out of that. Now, on the left over here, this is where your wallets are stored. Now, it puts one wallet in by default, and you can give your wallet a name. So if you click here, alright, Gareth's wallet. There's one very important thing to note straight away. This little square here, this yellow square, this indicates that your wallet is not password protected. So one of the first things you should definitely do is go in and password protect your wallet. So if I click on this, it brings up this help thing about password protecting your wallet. And what we want to do is go to File, Add a Password. So I recommend that you use a very secure password in here. So a good password would be a long password that's a combination of some capital letters, some numbers, and some symbols. You could also use a system like KeePass. That's a very good system to use, and in fact I'm going to do a video on this at some point and go through how to use KeePass. There's also a website called howsecureismypassword.net, and if you put your password in there, it'll tell you how many years or millions of years it's going to take to crack your password. So make sure you put a very secure password in here. I'm just going to put my standard password. So it gives a little green tick to indicate it's fine. I'm going to add the password to my wallet. So now my wallet is password protected, so nobody can jump on my machine and go onto my Multibit wallet and just send all my Bitcoins to their address, because in order to do this, they are now going to have to enter my password if they want to send any Bitcoins anywhere else. So that's the first thing you should definitely do. And now, if you look over here, you can see there's this padlock indicating that this wallet is now password protected. So I'm just going to close down these two little screens. So you've got your sending window here, and this is where you would paste in the address of the wallet address of where you want to send Bitcoins to. In the request area, you have your address. So this is the address, your public address, that you give out on the internet or give out to other people, and people can send you Bitcoins to this address. And then you'd have your transactions history here, listing all the different send and receive transactions you've done. If you go up to the top right hand side, you can see the current Bitcoin price in US dollars. It's getting this from the Mt. Gox exchange. Now currently there's a lot of problems with Mt. Gox as I'm recording this video. People can't withdraw their Bitcoins, so there's a lot of selling pressure on there. So the price on Mt. Gox is actually very low. So you might want to change to a different exchange. So you can either click on here to bring up the preferences, or you can go up to the view menu and go down to preferences. So we're going to change to a different exchange. We'll go to Bitstamp. We'll have it in dollars, and what you can also do is have a second row. So you could have another exchange, BTC, and you could say I want to see it in euros. You can also change the look and feel of Multibit, so you could say let's have it in this Nimbus look, which will give it a sort of rounded edge, and we'll apply these changes, and now you can see Multibit's interface has changed, and up here you can see the price of the current Bitcoin price in US dollars from Bitstamp. It's 640, so it's a lot higher on Bitstamp than it is on Mt. Gox, and you can see the price in euros from BTC. So that's the preferences. So another area to look at is the tools menu. If we click on tools, you can see this option here, export private keys. Now this is a very important option because you should definitely make a copy of your private keys. Your private key is the key that unlocks your public key. This should be kept secret and only yourself should know it, but you need to keep a copy of this, because if you lose, your laptop gets lost or stolen or your hard drive crashes, as long as you've got that private key, you can go back in and you can recover your public key and you can recover your funds that are within that Bitcoin address. The other option is this one at the bottom, reset blockchain and transactions. Now I've had it before that I've had Bitcoin sent to my Multibit wallet, and although it's showing up in my wallet as there, it's not actually allowing me to use those funds. They're saying they're unavailable, and it's not getting it confirmed properly. So if you do a reset the blockchain option, it resynchronizes with the network, and after I did this, then that Bitcoin became available and my wallet was showing the correct amount of Bitcoin in there. So that's a quick tour around Multibit. Now one last thing before we go, I want to go back over to the roaming folder, and I want to just show you the Multibit folder. So we go back over to C, users, spare, app data, roaming. We want to go into the roaming folder. Now there's our BitcoinQT folder that we installed earlier. Currently it's got 309 meg in it. It's still busy downloading that blockchain data, and it's going to get a lot bigger than that. Down here is our Multibit folder, and that's only 640 kilobits in size, and it won't really get any bigger than that. So you can see the footprint of Multibit on your computer is so much smaller than the actual BitcoinQT client. That will eventually get to about 16 gigabits, and it'll continue to grow as the blockchain grows over time. So that was Multibit. We're now going to take a look at my personal favorite, which is Electrum. So we're going to head back over to bitcoin.org and we're going to have a look at Electrum. Now, Electrum is another third-party wallet, but it's endorsed by the Bitcoin developers, so it's perfectly safe. It's a very fast wallet, and it's got very low resource usage. The way it actually works is it synchronizes with remote servers, and these remote servers download all the blockchain data, so you don't have to download any of this to your machine. Now, one of the major advantages of Electrum is that it creates what's called a seed, which is actually just a phrase of random words, and it does this when you install it. And as long as you record this phrase or this seed, if you ever lose your laptop or your hard drive crashes or gets stolen, you can always recover your Electrum wallet by reinstalling it and re-entering this phrase back in, and you can get everything back. So this is a major advantage. You can also use Electrum very nicely across multiple devices, and it'll synchronize across these devices. So it's got a couple of really good advantages, and I personally use it, and I personally recommend it as my wallet of choice if you're on a PC. So I'm going to head over to Electrum's website now, and we're going to download the Electrum wallet and run through the installation. So if I head over to download, and I'm going to download the Windows installer, but you can see there's also installer files for Linux or Mac OS X. So you click on the Windows installer. I actually have it downloaded, so I'm going to go straight to my downloads folder, and I'm going to run the installation. So I'll click on run, and you come to the first screen. Now straight away you see there's a difference between this installation and previous installations on the other wallets. It's asking you whether you want to create a new wallet or restore an existing wallet from its seed. Now this is what I was talking about. If you've got this seed recorded and you lose your laptop, you can go to another machine, run through the installation of Electrum, and you can restore your wallet from that seed. So this is an excellent feature of Electrum that the other two wallets don't provide. In this case, however, we're going to create a new wallet. So I'm just going to click on Next. Now, this is the seed that I was talking about. So we've got some random words in a phrase, and we've also got a QR code that you can scan. Now what you need to do is make a copy of this seed. So the easiest way to do it probably is just to get the snipping tool, and you want to take a snip of this and save it. Seed. So I'm just going to save it on my desktop for now. And then once you have this seed, you probably want to print it off and keep it somewhere secure, like in a safety deposit box. And you definitely don't want to leave it on your computer online so somebody can hack into your computer and recover this seed. You could put it in something like a TrueCrypt folder, a hidden folder or hidden container, and keep it on a memory stick or USB or a hard drive, external hard drive, and keep that offline. So perhaps the best strategy is to do a TrueCrypt container on a USB stick and print off a paper copy and keep both of these hidden somewhere in a safety deposit box, and that way you've got your seed and you can recover it should you ever need to recover your wallet. So I've made a screenshot of that. I'm now going to click on Next. Now, part of the install, they insist that you retype your seed to make sure that you have got a copy of this seed. So I'm just going to move this over here. Go to my snip that I took earlier. I'm going to type this out. You need to make sure that you get this absolutely correct, because if you click Next and you've made any sort of spelling mistake, the installation finishes and you have to go back and restart the installation. So So you might just want to double check before you click next that you've spelt everything correctly. That looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to click on next. Now it asks you for a password. Now this again is another excellent feature of Electrum. In Multibit and BitcoinQT you could run through the installation and you'd have your Bitcoin wallet up and running, but it wouldn't be secured. Electrum insists that you create your password before you actually install the wallet, and this is a very good feature. So it ensures that your wallet is password protected from the start. So I'm going to type in my standard password. Once again, make sure you use a very secure password here. And Electrum is now generating our wallet addresses. Now this is the server bit that I was talking about. It wants you to connect to a server somewhere to synchronize all the blockchain data. So the best option is just to say auto connect, click next, and there we go. We're up and running. Unlike BitcoinQT, we don't have to wait hours and hours, and it installs instantly and connects, and you could begin sending and receiving Bitcoins immediately. So before I wrap this all up, let's just have a quick look around the interface of Electrum. So you've got your history tab, which will show you a history of your send and receive transactions. You've got the usual send tab, so you'd put the person's Bitcoin address in that you want to send Bitcoin to. And you've got the receive tab. Now, unlike some of the other wallets, immediately Electrum's created 5 Bitcoin addresses for you to use. So you could actually get Bitcoin sent to any one of these 5 addresses. You can then label them with whatever you want to use. So let's just label these. So I could call this Gareth's main wallet. And then you could give them all different labels. So if you wanted to use them for different purposes. You can also create contacts of people that you regularly send Bitcoin to. Now, if you look down in the bottom right-hand corner here, there's an option here called Switch to Light Mode. Now, if you click on this, you just get a nice, small, little, simple interface. So if you wanted to just be using Electrum and sort of keep it minimized, this is a really nice option. If you click over here, it expands it back to the full version. The padlock here tells you that your Electrum wallet is passworded. You can create a new password here. You've got your preferences over here. So you can see by default you pay a transaction fee of 0.0002 Bitcoins, which is good. You should just leave it set on that. And over here you have the option to view your seed. So if you ever forget your seed or misplace it, you can always go back in here, enter your password, and you can see your seed over here again. And of course the green light over here indicates that you are connected to the network. And that's basically, a sort of brief look at Electrum. So as I mentioned previously in the video, I said I was going to come back at the end of the video and have a look at BitcoinQT again once it had finished synchronizing with the network. Now, BitcoinQT has been synchronizing for about 2 days on this old laptop. It's finally finished synchronizing, and I just want to go back into the Bitcoin installation folder and show you the block size and all the downloaded blocks, and you can see how big the actual final download is. So if I go to C users, back into the Bitcoin folder, and over here we've got a folder called blocks, and if you have a look at it, it's now 16.8 gigabits in size. So that's all that blockchain data that it's been downloading over the last couple of days. And that's taking up quite a lot of hard drive space now. If we actually click into it, you can see all these .dat files, and this is all the blockchain data downloaded onto the machine. There's actually 235 items now downloaded. So I'm just going to have a quick look at the BitcoinQT interface. It's actually quite a basic wallet. You've got your send options where you'd put in the Bitcoin address that you're sending to, your receive option, and your transaction history. If we go into file settings over here, you've got an option to encrypt your wallet. Now you should absolutely encrypt this wallet. That should be the first thing you do. So if we go in, and I'm going to put in my standard password again. So that wallet is now encrypted. It's giving you a warning, but yes, we definitely want to encrypt the wallet. So it's going to close to finish the encryption process. So I'm going to click OK. And I'll reopen Bitcoin again. So we're back in BitcoinQT, and if you look in the bottom right hand corner now, there's a little lock symbol here indicating it's encrypted. And if you have a look at settings, the encrypt wallet option is now grayed out. Another place to look is in the options here, and you might want to set a transaction fee. So we could change it to millibits, and you could set a transaction fee of 0002. And if you go to the window option here, I like to tick these two options. So that means that when I close the X in the corner of BitcoinQT client, it won't actually shut the program down. It'll just minimize it to the tray in the bottom right hand corner of the computer. So I'm just going to click apply to that. Click OK. And now when I click the X in the top right hand corner, when we go over here, we can see BitcoinQT is still running in the background. So that brings us to the end of this video on choosing your wallet. If you found the video useful, please remember to like, post any comments, and I will get back to you. Any Bitcoin donations to the address below the video will be gratefully received. I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.